All right, here we go. Another edition of Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. This is the show where we dish on the good, the bad, and the ugly that is the orange and blue. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys, CP the Franchise, Alex Rotaros, JD Sports Talk in the building. Tonight's show, we're going to give an update on the Donovan Mitchell trade. Spida Watch continues. And outside of RJ Barrett, which is the Knicks young player you least want to part with? And then tonight's episode, we're also going to do our fan mailbag Q&A, as well as taking your calls, man. So we got an action-packed show. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. And let's get into it, man. KnicksFanTV Live, presented by Manscaped. All right, fellas. Monday night. How we feeling, man?
Feeling pretty good, man. Chilling. Yeah. Nothing better than just waiting for, all these Donovan Mitchell rumors to settle down, because every day you log in on Twitter, it's just, we need Donovan Mitchell on the Knicks. You should do everything at all costs to get Donovan Mitchell. You shouldn't sell high on Donovan, all this stuff. So, we already know what it is.
Yeah. JD, how you feeling, man? Have you been scouting new parts for the grill? Are you caught in the in between? What's your deal, bro? How you feeling right now?
Listen, man, I'm ready for this trade. If it's gonna happen, I think the fan base at this point, we're just anxiously waiting to see, what is the end result of this whole journey of Donovan Mitchell, because we're at a point now where we want to evaluate the team, but there's so many scenarios that can still play out with a few players, with this team. So everyone's just anxious, but, we got some reports today and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, and speaking of reports, man, seems like we're kind of at a little bit of a stalemate right now where these trade talks are concerned, because according to Shams of The Athletic, he says there's eyes and ears around the league remain focused on the Utah Jazz and New York Knicks engaging in trade talks surrounding Mitchell. The Knicks asset pool up to 8 first-round picks and young players such as Grimes, Quickly, and Toppin, we're going to talk about later, gives them a clear opportunity to acquire Mitchell. But sources say talks so far have slowed and the sides are far from an agreement. With 3 years guarantee remaining on Mitchell's contract, the Jazz are not operating with a sense of urgency and have time to evaluate the best offers for the 25-year-old Spida Mitchell. So what do we think about this? My opinion, look, I think both sides are playing it according to how they should. Ainge wants a heavy package. We saw what he got for Gobert, damn near 5 picks. We know from the reports that they want guys on rookie scale contracts and draft capital. And what it seems like to me is that Leon has his price right now, and he's not willing to budge. So we have ourselves a stalemate. And this thing could drag on. Ian's come on the show and thinks this could, maybe hit a training camp. Maybe it takes that long. I wouldn't be surprised. But right now, we have ourselves a stalemate, and it's really not surprising to me. Shams also reports that along with New York, several other teams have expressed interest to the Jazz when it comes to Mitchell, such as the Wizards, the Heat, the Raptors, the Hornets, the Kings, and Atlanta. So JD, kick us off, man. What are you? Where's your head at right now, based on the report?
This is interesting because I think this is all in Ainge's court, and I think he's the one that's driving the negotiations where it's going. I think when it comes to the New York Knicks, I think his strategy is, first of all, this is part of his legacy. So when you have jobs and you have a name out there, Danny Ainge is a well-known name. People forget, these are, executives also, and him being a former NBA player, there's some ego here.
True.
And, he's going to go down in history with the Nets, the Nets trade with the Celtics, the Rudy Gobert trade. And, there's a lot of recency bias. This Donovan Mitchell trade is going to be one of the big accomplishments in his resume. So I think with that compiled with his ego, he's trying to get the most he can. He also knows James Dolan's on the other side. And I wonder if he is looking at the possibility of the Knicks fan base, the media, all this all together, and James Dolan maybe coming one day and saying, listen, man, we need to get this deal done. And that could be an advantage for Danny Ainge.
At what point does Dolan blink? Good.
Right. Exactly. So I'm pretty sure, they've told him, Leon has said, this is my stance. But behind closed doors, Danny Ainge may be trying to play, a game here. And I also think, which hasn't been talked about a lot, everyone says that the Knicks have the most assets to get the deal done. We don't know if in actuality, Danny Ainge loves this deal in terms of, is he also holding out to have a team emerge out of nowhere and potentially give him maybe better players with some draft picks? So I think this is all a veteran executive, just using all the tactics that he can to be able to make a deal that is in the best interest of his organization. So I think it's just a little bit of everything. Let me hold out. Like, what's the rush?
Yeah.
Somebody might get hurt. Somebody might come out of nowhere. The Kings might want to give up some of their young players. Maybe the Raptors. You saw a report today with the Celtics and the Nets. Like, things like this happen. So I think it's just strategy. I just don't know if in the end that's going to happen in terms of a team out of nowhere. I still think the Knicks are in the driver's seat, but I think Danny Ainge is just doing what Danny Ainge would do in this situation, and that's just take it all the way to the deadline.
Al, how you feel?
I think this is a Danny Ainge move, trying to stir up the market, as JD said, trying to create trying to put some pressure on the Knicks. I think he knows that he's going against a tough negotiator in Leon Rose, and this is what we're going to see, right? I mean, you have Danny Ainge. You already heard JD talk about his legacy. You have Leon Rose. Even though Leon Rose's free agency hasn't been stellar, everything else that he's done for the team when it comes to drafting and trading has been pretty on point. So, Leon Rose is trying to look for the best deal possible with Brock Aller and everyone else at the helm as well. And then if you even want to throw in Miami, you got Pat Riley, you got guys who are all they all got their legacies. They're all savvy in the NBA world. This is really a grudge match between the Knicks and the Jazz. It's not going to be an easy one. I just recorded a pod with for my podcast, Knicks Chats, etc. We just had Jake Hatch. Probably anyone who's on Twitter who heard that audio about the deal being done for the Jazz. We had Jake Hatch does the mornings for the Zone Sports Network with DJ and PK. If you heard that, and we asked him, what is Danny Ainge looking for? And he said Danny Ainge, in his opinion, based on what he's seeing out in Utah, is that Danny Ainge wants draft picks. The players are not, it doesn't seem like it's the players. It seems more so that he wants to make sure he can do a complete rebuild, have the assets to go up and move around whatever within any draft, especially the 2023, to get the players that he needs to do the complete successful rebuild that he did. I mean, if you look at the guys that are the core in the Boston Celtics, they were drafted 2 at the 6th round and 1 at the 3rd, right? Between Tatum, Brown, and Smart. So that's where he needs to get at if he wants to do this thing right. So he also, I'm pretty sure Danny Ainge also understands that he has to work through the draft and not go through free agency. Utah is not a big free agency destination, right? So he probably wants to draft guys, make sure that when they get into the league, this is what they're experiencing first, right? Because if you're like, say, if you're like you're Emmanuel Quickly or Obi Toppin, you experienced success in New York. You made that playoff appearance. You had a 1 playoff win game. Are you going to really trade for guys who may not want to be there in the long term? And then what are you out? You're out 2 players, right? That's why it kind of makes more sense that he wants Quentin Grimes, who can fit in any position. He can fit on any team just because of the way he plays basketball, but he's also young enough where he hasn't really experienced success yet on a team. And maybe the Jazz can just sell him saying, hey, look, if you stay here long enough, we're going to pay you. We're going to have success. All right. We got a new head coach. We're going to get the draft picks to put this team in position. You can come succeed here. Right. So I think when I'm looking at what Ainge wants to do, he wants those draft picks to make sure he can do a complete rebuild. That's why we hear 8 picks always talked about the most. All right. I don't think there's another team out there that's going to be able to get the draft compensation that Danny Ainge wants. Just look back to the Rudy Gobert trade, right? It was a lot of role players, but mostly draft capital.
Yeah.
I think that's what he wants to go.
The draft capital was really the premium there.
Exactly, and I think he wants to do that again. So for this, I think it's just coming down to, are the Knicks going to give up the amount of picks, especially their own picks without the protections that Danny Ainge wants in order to get this deal done? I think that's where the gridlock is right now.
Now let's hold that thought. Brian Windhorst was on the Rich Eisen show, and here's what Windhorst had to say about the stalemate. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly, presented by Manscaped.
Owner. This is very comparable to me to when the Knicks were really wanting to get Carmelo Anthony. If you remember, that played out over 6-7 months, Rich, and we talked about dozens of different trade scenarios. There was times where another team, the New Jersey Nets at the time, maybe they'd moved to Brooklyn, were, almost traded for him. And at the end of the day, the Knicks basically paid a massive amount for Carmelo Anthony. They ended up giving the Nuggets just about everything that they wanted. And so if you're Danny Ainge and you know that that's what the Knicks and the same ownership might do, and you have held your price out, I think what you will see there is, because the Knicks I know there are other teams interested, but what the price that the Jazz are looking for, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of that 4 first-round picks that they got for Gobert and then other players, I think the Knicks are the team that can pay it. I think the Knicks are the team that the Jazz want to do the business with, and I think the Knicks ultimately will probably feel some pressure to execute that deal, especially if the season starts and they don't start out super hot. So I would guess that eventually Donovan Mitchell is a Knick. That's a educated guess. I don't know, of course. And I think it's really right now all about the two sides doing their own posturing and negotiation on what the price is going to be.
When I started my business in 2000.
Oh, okay. So that was Brian Windhorst. Now, he compared it to the Melo trade in terms of the length of time that it took to get the deal. I don't think he was really talking about the parameters of the deal per se. But, he was along the same lines as everybody else, man. This thing is going to take some time. Now, he thinks that Ainge wants 4 first-round picks. And the thing is that, the Knicks are trying to dangle these conditional picks that they picked up in the draft for the 2023 draft, but they don't hold that much value as compared to their unprotected, which you're looking at 2023, 25. Now it gets tricky as you dip into the future, 27 and 29, because number one, you don't know how long this experiment will last or where the team will sit into the future. And then number two, you do want those future picks to go get another guy. You know what I'm saying? You do want those future picks to potentially package that up. Who knows? Maybe Leon goes and gets Joel. Maybe he goes gets somebody else. You want those picks for the next guy, and you can only trade picks up to 7 years into the future. So we're talking about between now and 29, 30, and then again you can't trade back-to-back picks. So this is a very, very difficult trade for Leon Rose and company. And with the Shams scenario, I know, Al, you're saying you don't see another team coming in with a package. The longer this thing goes, I just can't count out Riley, man. I keep saying it. I can't count out Riley. And the reports are saying that Miami's trying to get another first-round pick. Toronto also has their own picks. We don't know, how aggressive would Ujiri be. We haven't seen Ujiri really, mortgage the future for a gamble, right? With the Kawhi and the Rosen trade, it was kind of 1-for-1 plus that extra draft capital, which turned out to be Jakob Poeltl. That went to the Spurs. That was kind of like almost like a 1-for-1. It wasn't that much of a premium. He did take a gamble on a rental, and it paid off. But is Ujiri the type of guy that would take 4 picks? He's not giving up Barnes. You know that. That's his crown jewel. He's not giving up Barnes. But is he a guy that would try to give up 4 picks, maybe an Anunoby, and so on, and make a steal? Because we know the Raptors are in on KD. So I think those two teams you still got to watch out for. Now, obviously, KD's a better player than Spida. We know that. But I'm saying Miami and Toronto will be the two teams I'm looking at.
Yeah, my thing with Toronto though, right, is that especially when you bring up OG and Anunoby, who's already on contract. I think he's making 17. I think he's making 17 annually right now.
Yeah.
Does Utah? We heard about Utah not wanting to pay guys. Now OG got paid, or not significantly, but he did get paid. Right, he's on to his second contract. If you're the Utah Jazz, does that fall in line with the same logic though of saying, let me go take on OG Anunoby? We got this year and 2 more years afterwards. So you got 3 years of OG. If you're making that move, it seems like you're trying to go win, not really rebuild with OG. So I don't see Ujiri mortgaging the future. I think he is very, he likes to be the guy fleecing.
Yeah,
right. He fleeced us. He wants to make sure, and he did a good job at getting Kawhi to go get that ring. He likes to be the guy fleecing teams.
Yeah.
I don't see him working with Ainge to giving up 4 draft picks and mortgaging the future, because then at that point, are you saying it's gonna be Scotty Barnes, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and Donovan Mitchell that's going to take you over the hump to go beat Giannis Antetokounmpo? Are they going to beat the Boston Celtics? Like, these are teams that you still got to look at, like, how close are we in competing? Like, Toronto wasn't that close, so I don't see why they would want a mortgage. It makes more sense for Miami, but once again, who's working with Pat Riley, and does Danny Ainge really want to work with Pat Riley to go help him? They do have beef. This is where it just makes sense for like the Knicks. And this is not just like saying, oh, the Knicks have the draft capital. If you want the draft capital, which is why, some were upset with the protections that you got on those picks because it's not really flexible. This is where it makes more sense for the Knicks. And I think the Knicks they're not in the driver's seat, but Utah has leverage, but the Knicks also have leverage, especially when it comes to those draft picks.
Now, JD, you mentioned Sacramento. I don't think Atlanta has a chance. They just spent a lot of draft capital on DeJounte Murray. I don't think they have a legit shot. Sacramento, Mike Brown as a new coach, they like the Timberwolves want to take a swing. They've been drafting. They've been a perennial lottery team. Young guy after young guy after young guy drafting, and it hasn't worked. They've been in the basement forever. Their draft capital, much more valuable than others, and maybe they want to part with a couple of young pieces, bring a Spida in there with some bonus and so on. Who knows? Sacktown might be a sleeper.
And to be honest, that's why I said that the Knicks are more equipped to make a deal, but Ainge may be looking at another franchise and saying, man, if I can get them to want interest, if I can get them to want Mitchell, I can get a better deal there. And when you look at the type of deal they made and the criticism that the Kings, had with the Tyrese Halliburton deal, they made that deal. They still didn't make the playoffs, right? Like, there's still question marks about even the roster that they have now. So when you look at a franchise like that that's making questionable moves, you want to take advantage of that. And right now, the Knicks front office, I think they're in a neutral level in terms of people's evaluations on their abilities. The Brunson deal for now is getting, pretty solid reviews. They address the position of need. But I always said when Leon Rose makes that first big move is when we're going to find out what type of GM and what type of front office this is. And when I look at the Kings, a little bit of situation with the Knicks, right? Sabonis, Randall, not much success recently, trying to, compete, trying to make the playoffs. Who's to say they won't say, you know what? If we get Mitchell here, that's gonna take away a lot of the distractions from the Tyrese Halliburton deal. And with Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, and Sabonis, they may feel that could be enough in the West to get to that level. You see, they're not really focused about championships or anything. They just want to make it. Like, they're trying to find a way to just get in and become, relevant. Although the Knicks are similar, I think the Knicks are on the cusp of wanting to make the playoffs, but on the way for a championship. Like, that's the road. I think the Kings, they really just want to be a playoff team and stop this, drought that's going on. So I look at a deal, Harrison Barnes, 2 years left. He would be their Evan Fournier. right? We see Ian Begley put up all these packages with Evan Fournier as the key piece in terms of salary. And then from there, you're looking at Donovan Mitchell and Keegan Murray. That's your deal right there. That makes the money. And now you have to discuss draft compensation, right? So would the Kings do that?
Oh, you mean Davion Mitchell?
Davion Mitchell.
Gotcha.
Davion Mitchell, Keegan Murray, and then Barnes is your salary guy, 2 years, just like Fournier. That's the deal right there. And if your Ainge is Keegan Murray and Davion Mitchell, a better player package than a Grimes and IQ, than a Obi and Grimes, like whatever combination.
Yeah.
That's, you start to see now the possibilities as a GM. And this is why you do what Ainge is doing, because you want somebody to bite. You want somebody to face. He's going against all these franchises' pressure. The Knicks have pressure. The Kings have pressure. What are the Heat going to do? The Heat are at a point. They signed Kyle Lowry, and everybody, gives Pat Riley all this credit. But that Kyle Lowry move is not looking good right now.
He was washed. I told you from the beginning he was washed, man.
And here are the Heat, right? The Heat are banking on Oladipo's health. I don't know what they're going to do with Duncan Robinson. And
they need
Kyle
another
Lowry
guy.
is what?
Washed.
So this is what Ainge is doing now. He's going against all these other teams' expectations, and he's hoping that just one team blinks. He goes to the Knicks. He says, "Hey, what are you going to do?" And then Leon is on the clock. So it's very interesting. I think he's playing it smart.
Man. Call us up 657-383-1509 or hit us up on the Knicks Fan TV Discord. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We got over 1,600 people in here tapping into Knicks Fan TV Live, presented by Manscaped. Salute to I see the Rhyme Animal Chuck D is in the chat. Salute to Chuck. Salute to all the mods that are tapping in with us tonight. Let's get it going. Now,
TP, you doing that deal?
Which one?
Barnes, Keegan Murray, Davion Mitchell, and whatever picks.
And multiple picks? If I was Ainge,
picks.
yeah, because those picks would be, to me, would be worth more.
And if you're the Kings, would you do that deal? If we were Kings Fan TV.
I think so. Look, you traded for Sabonis, who got a couple years left on his deal, like 2 years left. You traded Halliburton for Sabonis. You just brought in Mike Brown. I think they're in a similar situation as the Timberwolves, where it's just like, you know what? We've been drafting in the lottery, drafting. It's not working. Let's try something different. Bring an established star in here. And away we go. We're in the West. You know what I'm saying? We're in the West. All this building through the kids, it's not going to get you anywhere.
And you have to think, if you actually did that as a Kings, right? Utah then is out. They were a top team in the West for such a long time. So you got to think that, okay, maybe I take a step up. I can even be at minimum a play-in team, potentially a playoff team. How far you go? Probably not that far with the makeup of that type of roster. But at least if you're the Kings, you still get to have that competition that you're looking for.
True story. But as this thing drags on, what becomes even more interesting, because we're talking about how premium these picks are and how difficult it is going to be for the Knicks to make a 4-pick trade. As Russell Westbrook remains out there and Kyrie Irving remains here in Brooklyn. And a reporter said that Kyrie wouldn't mind staying with the Nets regardless of what KD does. We heard over the weekend that the Lakers and Pacers were talking Miles Turner, Buddy Hield swap for Westbrook. That so far has reached a stalemate. But Shams is reporting that Utah, New York, and Indiana are among teams that have discussed deals with the Lakers involving Westbrook and draft capital. So could this be a potential, could it be a potential blockbuster, putting Julius in the deal, getting an extra unprotected first-round pick for the Lakers, make you feel a little bit better about going out there and getting the Spida? That's something to be seen, man. As this thing drags out, you just never know.
I mean, it makes sense, right? That's what we discussed the last show, is that when we discussed Westbrook for Randall, you can't have 4 of these dudes where you have Brunson, RJ, Randall, and Donovan Mitchell on this team. Mitchell, 100th percentile in usage. You have RJ and Randall over in somewhere in the 90s, right? And then you have Brunson, who's 75th percent. It's only one ball. You're gonna put the ball in Brunson's hand, and if you get Donovan Mitchell, it's going to be at him as well, right? They're going to be the two guys working the backcourt, operating, creating their own shots, looking to get other guys involved. So it only makes sense that they would try to connect with the Lakers, throw Randall in that deal, shed that salary from Westbrook, right? Because even still, you could say, hey, we can take Randall as a Lakers. We'll increase his value playing with LeBron James. LeBron, for the most part, has helped guys, look better, help them earn money down the line because guys are also able to flourish next to the way LeBron plays basketball. So you could think that as well and say, hey, if Randall doesn't work out here, we can still flip him. He's not a complete waste of a player. He's still a solid player. He's still a solid NBA player, out of position on the Knicks, but you could still argue that. So if you're the New York Knicks and you try to do that deal with the Lakers, and then you're involved in that, it makes perfect sense to get that other pick. Because then if you're Danny Ainge, you get exactly what you want, especially if you want to tear it all down and get all the draft picks you need to do a complete haul over for a rebuild.
True story. True indeed, man. Let me salute the couple super chats that have come in so far. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. Let's see the super chats that have come in. Let me shout out to Kerry Cooper. Appreciate it. Eric Nefron says, Mitchell's value declines with time. Everyone knows he's on the block. The Knicks should be patient. The price will come down. It could, but he could also be gone. So it's all a part of the negotiation game. We'll see what Leon wants to do. I mean, clearly he has his price and he's standing firm as for now. But as Brian Windhorst says, will he be under pressure to make a move? I think that's left to be seen. Robert Parrott, $10 super chat says Leon and Ainge dug in their heels big time. Sage of the Pad, $10 super chat says Dolan intervening would help Ainge, but if Spida comes out and says send me to New York, then no other team will want to bid to get Spida. Well, the thing is,
that?
The thing is that with 3 years left on his deal, how much power does he really have though? Because right now they're saying that he hasn't officially requested a trade. So it seems like, he's a kid of high character. He wants to stay professional about it. I don't see it being a situation where he gets sent to Sacramento and says, well, I'm not going to play for them. You know what I'm saying?
He's definitely not Harden.
Right. He ain't
I mean, that's why I said, how about that? I mean, you got to give him some credit, man.
Yeah.
This guy's in New York. He's going to high schools. He's doing solid. You would think he's on the Knicks already, and the Knicks are following him and he's doing these charity events and all that stuff because he's, he's participating. Bro, he's hooping in New York.
Yeah.
And like you're in that environment, and yet you don't request a trade. You don't put pressure on the Jazz front office. To me, I think that's two things. I think they have talked already, and I think Danny Ainge is pretty much clear on his desires, and Mitchell is just living up to, what I want. If you go this route, this is my preference.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say anything. And, to encourage a deal, I'll be professional. At the end of the day, whether he asks out or not, I mean, Harden has done it. Did you see some of the picks they had to give away to get him? So I know that sometimes we think that, if a player says this, he has 3 years left. So he can say it all he wants, but I don't know that that's going to automatically mean that tomorrow the Knicks can keep a pick or two. At the end of the day, a framework of a deal is a framework of a deal. And I just think at this point, it's more about professionalism and, about just, being professional to the team that drafted you, and everybody's different the way that they handle their business. And I think the way he's handling it is the correct way. I mean, he wants to play for a team that everyone knows has the best possibility to acquire him. So why drag it or why, tilt it to the negative, field? Just stand the course. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. I think it's actually going to help him, even if the trade happens, the fact that he played it out the way it did, I think it's going to help him from a PR standpoint.
True indeed, man. True indeed. Let's get to the phone, take a couple calls before we switch to the next topic. Let's go to area code 917. 917. What's your name? Where you tapping in from?
Yo, fellas, what's good? It's JJ from Brooklyn. How you
JJ,
guys
what's
doing,
good, man? Yo, man, I don't have my
What's good?
screener tonight. My guy Edgar's
Yo.
at MSG right now, Monday Night Raw, so he left me high and dry, man.
Oh,
I'm
for
over here
real?
answering the phones on my own
Oh,
tonight.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can't miss Raw, though. Raw's dope.
Yeah, I'm watching
dope,
right now.
man.
I'm actually watching right now. I'll tell you something. Yeah, let's go.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, I got a couple questions, man. First, I wanted to ask RJ Barrett, if we get Mitchell, I'm curious, what do you guys think
wants
his
RJ
role
out of
is going to be?
He wants RJ out of here.
No, I'm not bashing.
He couldn't wait to get RJ out of here, man.
Man, we're not even in training camp.
He couldn't wait, man.
No, I'm just curious, like, because when I look at Wiggins, I would love RJ to be the Wiggins of the Knicks. Like, when you look at Wiggins this year, his efficiency was amazing. He made the All-Star team, not because of his stats. His stats weren't crazy, but he was efficient. He was playing amazing defense. So if RJ can be that role, just improve that defense, really be that guy first on the defensive end, and like maybe he takes a few less shots instead of going from 20 to 23.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes to 17 or 18, but he shoots 48%, and he plays good defense, and he's good off ball. To me, that would be elite. I would love that season from RJ. I really would. You know, that to me, that would be the elite that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for 20 to 23 on 39, 40, 41%. If you can get that efficiency up and play that Wiggins role, I would just be ecstatic. I really would love that type of season for him. So I'm just curious, what do you guys think his role would be? You think he would thrive in that off-ball role? And then another question: if we, I'm just curious, like, man, like if we do get Mitchell, you're basically trading the farm for the number 2 option before you get that number 1 option. So do you agree with that? Just doing something like that, basically giving up the house before you have the number 1 type dude? Because eventually we're going to have to get the number 1 guy down the line, eventually, like soon. You know, because the development is over. Once you got Mitchell, you got Brunson. I'm not saying they're old. Where are they, 25, 26, around there? So we're trying to win. So you're going to have to save some assets, some players to make another big move.
I appreciate the call, but that's what Leon's trying to do right now. You know what I'm saying? He's not trying to give up everything, especially with established players. You know, and we're going to talk about IQ, Grimes, and Obi. But, you know, it's possible Ainge is looking for 2 out of 3.
How many number 1s are in the league?
Oh, they don't grow on trees, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, everybody thinks
How many,
you
like,
just draft your way to a championship.
You look at it, you're like true number 1s.
True ones?
Let me ask you a question. If Jason Tatum got traded to the Knicks tomorrow, would you be saying we finally got our number 1 guy? Would you be saying that?
No. But it depends on the supporting cast. All right? But not yet. He still has a ways to go. I mean, Tatum's still very young. You know, got his feet wet in the finals. He still has another level that he needs to get to really establish himself in that regard. But if I'm talking about number 1s, I'm talking about KD, Bron, Steph, the Freak,
Luka.
I'm forgetting somebody here. Kawhi Leonard when he's healthy.
Is Jokic your number 1?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Is Joel Embiid number 1?
He is, but the injuries is just like I don't like.
How about your boy Dame?
Dame? Yeah, but he's in Portland. He's never gonna make it.
I'm just asking if he's number 1.
Dame's
How are you gonna make it? Sheesh.
But Dame, I mean, does Dame really make I don't know, man. Is Dame a true?
I'm just trying to get where the line is for who the number 1 options are.
You start to see when you go through the list that in today's NBA, like, because I think Tatum is a ongoing debate, but they made it to the finals,
right?
And
well, they got a 1A, 1B option over there with it between him and Brown.
But see, I thought even though he was not a true 1 yet, I thought their roster was so balanced and so tailor-made for championship run. The defense was elite. Brown was a complimentary, you know what I mean, another all-star caliber. They had 2 all-star caliber players. They had the vet presence. They had the size. They had the elite defense, good coaching. So I thought they had the elements to win it, even though they didn't have a true number 1. But I thought not having the true 1 is what ultimately lost them the series.
That's why building a team now, it's when you look at the landscape of the East, it's like you can build a team with, because Would you say Mitchell is okay? He's not a number one. Would you call him a true number two, or he's out? He's like that player on the cusp. Like he can, in other words, can Mitchell win? Can Mitchell get the Knicks to the finals, being the Knicks' number one option, with a balanced team? In other words, if we built a good team around him, can he do it?
I think you need more. You need more shot creation, and the defense has to take a huge leap. You need more shot creation, though. It's not. It can't just be him.
I would say it'd be like a 1A, 1B situation. You're going to need another guy like how they have out in Boston to be either the 1A, 1B. He would probably be the 1A because of his offensive ability, but you're going to need someone to be that 1B, and that's kind of where you hope RJ Barrett
to
be that
question,
1B, right? To be like our Jaylen Brown. That's what you got. That's what you hope for if you bring those two together. So
yeah,
because Mitchell has already proven a few things. He's gotten a team as a number one seed in the West. He's he scored a few 50-point games. Like he's done some things that would lead to believe a front office that maybe, just maybe, if he's our number one guy, we have to have a very good number two and maybe another good number two. Like you may not need another number one, but you need to have kind of like two other players that are just there. So you have a balanced team, and maybe that can get you to because I just think in this era, man, unless you get like a Giannis, it's just difficult.
It's tough, man.
Like, okay, so we're gonna get Mitchell tomorrow. How are we gonna get a number one?
That's why you're hoping to keep some of those future picks to see if you can get that, but that's also why, to JJ's call, I think RJ is a big part of this, because part of him fitting well with Mitchell is being able to hit his catch and shoot numbers like he did in his second year during the regular season. He's going to have to do that again.
Look, and that's why the Knicks kind of went in the direction they did this offseason, right? They got their point guard. They got Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown. They got
Brunson.
They got Brunson.
Yeah. They
got Jalen Brunson. They were looking at him to be that third guy because we saw what he did in the playoffs, especially against Utah. It just comes down to, if you get Spida, it all comes down to what can RJ do? Because that's where that player comes in. It's the wing now. Because you hope that Mitch can be a good enough, really fine tune his game to be that solid anchor on defense, right? You look for that power forward that if it's Randall or Obi or whoever, that they can play off the ball and contribute whenever they need to be. But you need that wing player. If you're getting Donovan Mitchell and you're going to have Jalen Brunson, that's two small backcourts. That means your wing, RJ Barrett, has to be so good defensively and be efficient offensively, as JJ was talking about. That's really the hope that you have. And then you're talking about a true competitive team in the East. So it really just all boils down to RJ.
Yeah, that's a fact. Somebody said, LOL, that I don't think Tatum is the number one. Well, number one, we're talking about superstars here, man. I think I think he's on the verge for sure. We're talking about superstars, man. Wiggins ate him up in that last game. You just got to admit, as the series went on, he got worn out because he was trying to do everything. That's what superstars do. Everybody ain't cut out for that. He's 24 years old. He has a long way to go. He's still getting into his prime. He got his feet wet. Give him some time. Give him some time.
He had a few rough shooting games in that.
Yeah.
Finals.
All right, let's move to the next topic. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Now, we know RJ for the most part, and most likely is going to be off the table in this type of deal. After RJ, which player of Grimes, IQ, Obi, these are the three best young players that the Knicks have right now. Grimes, IQ, Obi. Which player do you least want to part with? Which player do you least want to part with? Who wants to go first?
Can I say Rokas? I don't know if I want to answer this question. You want to go first, Alex?
Oh, man. You really said Rokas.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go. I'll tell you. You guys know exactly where I'm going.
Now, hold on. Are we doing it? Are we doing it in conjunction with the trade? In other words, overall in general, or like the player we pick, then that means Mitchell's here and that player's not there. Because it does connect if we're doing it that way.
No, I mean, which player would you least want to trade in the Donovan Mitchell trade?
In the Donovan, yeah, so it is in the Donovan Mitchell trade.
Yeah. Al, you were saying, go ahead. Al was saying, you were saying IQ? Al still there? Did we lose Al's audio?
God.
Al, you still there? Can you hear us?
What?
Can you hear us?
Talking to me?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, my headphones are going in and out, bro.
Yeah, you know why, right? You already know what I'm gonna say, but I don't want to mess up my future potential.
I think he's gassing it. He just doesn't want to answer the question.
The answer is Quentin Grimes.
I gotta fix my headphones.
The answer is Quentin Grimes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to tell you. We just talked about Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Jaylen Brown, Chris Middleton. It is a guard and wing league. 3-and-D players are the glue of a contender, of a championship team. You need that. Like I said, we don't need that. We need that. 3-and-D. And the thing about Grimes, he may be able to give you a little bit more. He's working on that part. We already know his floor is 3-and-D, but maybe he has a little bit more playmaking. Maybe he has a little bit more putting the ball on the floor and making things happen. That's what he's working on. 3-and-D. I think that archetype, what Quentin Grimes is what every team is looking for. JJ just talked about Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins shot 40% from 3 in the regular season. A defensive wing. Look how valuable he was in the finals. Yes, it was all about Steph. It was Steph's story. But Wiggins on Tatum, that was big. That was big. And with Grimes, you have some upside. He helps us. Of those 3 plays, the most valuable in the half court, which is the game that the Knicks play. Knicks don't play fast. A half court team. A floor spacer. Low usage. High efficiency. Some upside. Yes, he's only 6'5". He doesn't have that positional versatility to go up a little bit, but at least some twos. At least twos, ones, maybe some smaller threes. I think it's Quentin Grimes. This is why Utah wants him.
I knew you weren't going to say Obi.
Listen, of the 3, what do we always say about Grimes? He's the one that can play with anybody.
Yep.
And if you're gonna lose the positional versatility with a smaller backcourt in a Brunson and a Mitchell potential, I need a strong defender. I need my strong perimeter defender and a guy who's gonna floor space it for guys who are gonna be constantly attacking in the middle of the paint.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with Emmanuel quickly. I need that.
Wow, we're going with different answers. Like, hey.
Yeah,
TM, let's get the poll up going in the chat. Go ahead, Al.
No, I'm going to Emmanuel quickly. Look, for a long time, we've been looking for a guy to be playing the point guard position, right? Sure, we got Jalen Brunson. Okay, you got Donovan Mitchell who can do some of that as well, but he's primarily a scorer first. You're going to need someone to come off the bench who can give you that lightning in a bottle, who can facilitate, who can get other guys involved, all right? Because you can't play Brunson and Donovan the entire game. You're going to want somebody who can come in and give you some offense as well. I think you got to keep Emmanuel quickly, especially for the playmaking chops that we saw him develop this past season. I still think there's a lot more for him to offer to this team. We saw him improve on his rebounding towards the end of the season. You see that connection that he has with Obi. I think his ability to now just slow the game down and really help. You got to factor injuries into this equation as well. Even though both of these guys have been healthy for a long period of time, you got to think that you're going to need another guy who can come off the bench and still contribute to this team in another fashion outside. I get the whole Grimes argument. Grimes can play with anybody, but my thing with Grimes is like, all right, so he's 6'5", not really doesn't really play the 3 because I think he's a little on the smaller side to be playing 3s to be guarding guys like Tatum and other guys like that. So he's really locked in at the shooting guard for me. So how many minutes can you get Grimes in there playing shooting guard if you're going to have Brunson and Mitchell out on the court at the same time? at least you could say you can have a rotation of 3 guards moving in there because quickly he's a combo guard. He can play either the 1 or the 2. And I'd rather go with somebody like that and keep that for the long term than Grimes. I love Grimes. Don't get me wrong. He's gotten the comp from Knicks Nation as being the next Allen Houston with that jumper. I get it. 3-and-D maestro. Legit. He can fit on any roster because his skill set as basic, as you point out, CP, 3-and-D. But is he going to get that playing time here if you have Donovan Mitchell because he's truly a shooting guard? I don't think so. We've seen, I know it's not everyone wants to think about Tom Thibodeau right now as a head coach. They're thinking about Johnny Bryant down the line who can shake up the roster. But until that happened, I got to look at who we have in front of us at the head coach position. We know the minutes he likes to give his starting guys. Mitchell, if he's on this team, he is getting over 36 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Where's Grimes fit in? So that's why I'm going to stick with Emmanuel quickly.
JD's been thinking hard about this one, man. Let's go, man.
All right, listen, man. Y'all argument sounded good, but y'all both wrong.
All right, let's go. Oh, here we go. It
sounded good.
Here we go.
I get it.
Comes in with the fire. He's like, you know what?
But y'all both.
Let me tell you why you're both.
Here
wrong.
we go. Let's go.
Both wrong. Now listen. With Quentin Grimes, I think the issue is we're doing it with the Donovan Mitchell trade with Tom Thibodeau as the coach. I get what you're saying, CP and Alex. The problem is, are we going to really maximize those 2 players with Donovan Mitchell and a Jaylen Brunson backcourt? In other words, how many minutes are they going to get with the opportunity that Obi has in front of him? Obi can legit be a starter here. And as a starter, what he allows you for the starting lineup is what you're probably going to be looking for if you trade Obi. Because if you trade Obi, we're going to be looking for a player at the 4 that can move the ball, that can run, that's athletic, and that is not an impediment to Jaylen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, and RJ. Remember, RJ is still part of this equation in terms of usage, development, playmaking skills, right? Like there's still going to be, we still have to talk about where is RJ in all this, even after the trade? Is RJ still the number 2 option? Because a lot of people are saying Randall, but if you look at the way the season ended, who is really going to be the number 2 option? So when you look at all that, I get what Grimes gives you, but Obi to me, listen, as a starter last year, he averaged 20 points and 7 rebounds. He shot 43% from 3. Now, I know everybody's going to say, well, he did it against the G League teams and all this stuff. I love how people like to change the narrative once a player gives you a nice glimpse just because of the competition. Listen, at the end of the day, the guy couldn't hit the 3 on the same NBA floor, on the same NBA distance earlier in the season. Just because he did it at the end when he actually got an opportunity, don't try to tell me now that it's not legitimate. I mean, let's see how he does this season. But I just think when you look at building a team, we talk about balance and we talk about what you need after Donovan Mitchell. Yes, we do need defense. Yes, we're going to need a guy like Grimes. But Grimes is going to get like 20 minutes, maybe? I mean, how many minutes is he really going to give you with RJ in front of him, Mitchell in front of him, and Brunson in front of him? I mean, is Grimes in your closing lineup? No.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Over who?
Hey, Brunson might have to take a seat sometimes, man.
So we're gonna pay RJ $100 million.
Yeah.
Mitchell $100 million and Brunson $100 million. Where are you gonna put Grimes at the 4?
Hey, we here to win. We're here to win, man. If Brunson got to take a breather in clutch, if Brunson got to take a breather in crunch time, we got to do it. You saw Spoelstra put Duncan Robinson on the bench. Tibbs rocks with Grimes heavy, man.
Yeah,
he needs his defensive guy in there.
Hold on. Is Grimes closer
to
a Robinson?
No.
In terms of, because he plays the defense.
Facts.
But Robinson can't play make. Grimes is still learning that. So what I'm saying is the value enough over Obi to where you can tell me that you can live without losing Obi over these guys?
It is. You know why? Because Obi ain't playing when Julius is in there.
Well,
Obi ain't playing,
Julius, man. I'm not counting Julius here, so maybe I'm cheating. but in my world,
Look,
Julius is not. Obi's a starter.
Look, I hope you're right.
We made the Westbrook trade in my world.
Yeah,
You
I
know
hope
what
you're
I mean?
right. I hope you're right.
I just think that Obi gives you more upside in a league where you look at upside. I think Obi gives you more of that, and quite frankly, I wouldn't even be surprised if that's one of the holdups right now. That Ainge is pushing for Obi. Obi was the first pick of this regime. He was the first pick. You really think Leon wants to give him up that easy? I mean, we've been having this debate about minutes with him for 2 seasons, and it doesn't look like Leon has had any interest in giving up Obi. That's why you see the Westbrook, Mark Stein reported about the Westbrook, and now Shams basically confirms it. So to me, they're trying to find a way. They're just going to do it their way. And when you construct the roster, I just think Obi would be a better fit for the personnel. I mean, they're all great fits, but in terms of who I'd rather lose, I'm not losing Obi out of those 3, man.
What do you guys think of the chat, man? Obi, IQ, Grimes. You just heard the arguments. Now Cam Hive is in here clowning all of us, talking about y'all sleeping on Cam, y'all sleeping on Cam. You can't be everybody, man.
That's also part of it. I mean, you can get another wing, another defensive wing, a 3-and-D guy,
And that's why you can move off of Grimes, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with IQ. IQ, this front office has, how many times we've been wanting IQ to start? This front office doesn't see him that way.
Exactly. That's
So
why
that
you
loses
keep him.
value
But
to
that's
me.
why you keep him as a 6th man on
Look.
the bench. There you go. You just answered my point.
Grimes' production on a rookie contract is what roster construction is all about. That's value. That is value.
He's number 2 on my list.
That is
Obi,
value.
I got it Obi, Grimes, and IQ last, only because of just the minutes. I just think IQ in this, he's already on the short side. You're going to have a 6'1", a 6'1", and then I have Obi. To me, my ranking is Obi, Grimes, IQ. And it's close. They're all close. They're all good fits for the team. I think that's why they want to keep all 3 of them.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. One or 2 of these guys are going to be gone, unfortunately. Maybe Cam is a throw-in and you save one of the 3. But I think Grimes is a goner. And maybe IQ. Like you said, I agree. I think they are trying to keep Obi out of it. That was Ian Begley's opinion as well. That was Leon's lottery pick. Especially if you do the Randall deal for Westbrook or down the road.
CP, you're the business guy, right? You're the business guy. And you really think Leon, before he really finds out how his first pick, before you really find out you're going to trade him away, you're not going to even attempt to give him an opportunity to maybe pan out, and you're going to trade him?
And the one thing, he of the 3, he's the only one in the CAA mafia. So he's family. You know what I'm saying? He's with us. You know what I'm saying? He's with us. So anyway, good debate. Definitely great debate, fellas. Let's get to the fan mailbag. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. A lot of varying opinions in the chat. That's what we're looking for tonight. All right, let's get to the mailbag. Shout out to Triple M, season ticket holder, big time Knicks Fan TV supporter. He says, if the Knicks fail to land Donovan Mitchell due to Ainge's steep price, do you believe the fan base will understand? Is patience with this front office running dry if they miss on the hometown kid? And will we hear fire Rose chance or sell the team chance make its way back? We need answers. Now, this was kind of the thing that Windhorst was saying in terms of, will Leon pull the trigger or feel pressure to, especially if this team gets off to a slow start. Will the fan base understand? I think some will. I think there's a lot in the fan base that don't want us to do this deal. There's a lot of people that don't want the Knicks to trade for Donovan Mitchell. They want to stay the course, continue building with the draft picks that we have, continue developing the young players that we have. So I think there's a good portion that will. I think it also depends on the price. If you go somewhere else for a cheaper price than what the Knicks, compared to what the Knicks could have offered, I think that that could anger some in the front office. Is time running out for Leon? I think so. I think patience is wearing thin in terms of, this team being successful and him landing the big fish, him and Worldwide West landing the big fish that, you know, they were brought in here to get. And will we hear a fire Rose chance to sell the team? That all depends on how the team does. You know, I think this team, even without Donovan Mitchell, can still be borderline playoff play-in team. And if they're able to crack the playoffs, I don't think you'll hear that. I think the fan base will rally behind the team just like they did 2 years ago when they made the playoffs. So I think it all depends on how they play will ultimately determine the opinions on Leon Rose and you know, him not getting this done. What do you guys think?
I think if the Knicks fail to land Donovan Mitchell for a steep price due to what Ainge is wanting, I think some of the fan base will understand. I think others will say, why didn't they just, you know, go all in to go get a star and bring him to New York? You're going to have that portion of the fan base, but I think a good portion will understand. I mean, if you're trading the entire farm, that's where it starts to get similar to the Carmelo Anthony deal, right? Where you trade up everything. You can't even build around the guy that you bring in to New York. Like, you can't just bring in a star and say, that's it. He's the guy. Like, Donovan Mitchell is not LeBron James. He's not going to carry the team all the way to the finals by himself. So if you remove all the trade pieces that we've been talking about, if you remove the core of the roster that we have here, who surrounds Donovan Mitchell to help him succeed? So I think the fan base would understand that. With regards to patience, I think I don't know. I think it depends on like how you look at it. Are you happy? Like, I think if the trade doesn't happen because Danny Ainge is asking for a lot, I'm fine with seeing what this roster looks like going into the regular season. I'd be content. You still keep the young guys. You get to see another season how they develop. You could say after they develop this season, if they continue to prove well, that you don't even need to trade that many guys in a deal for Donovan Mitchell. Maybe you just need to give up one, maybe two, and you can give up more draft assets. Or maybe there's another trade that comes out of nowhere because another team likes what they're seeing out of somebody else, and they give you a better offer, and that gives you more draft assets or another player that you can go flip down the line to go get another star or whoever that you need for this team. So I think people would still be fine if you got to see this team, this iteration of this team moving forward. I can understand wanting a star in here, but if the kids are playing well and this team's playing well at the beginning of the season,
you will forget about it.
It's going to be one ear out the other. Will we hear fire Rose chance or sell the team chance make its way back? I think it depends on how the team does. You're losing, you're going to hear it. Can't lose 2 seasons in a row, especially if it's bad. But if we see some development, I think people can tolerate it. But I think it all depends on how this team plays out.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, a lot of this is dependent on what actually happens. So, like, you know, the steep price, will the fan base understand? You see, the thing is, we've gone this far in the process, right? Like, we're talking about lineups. What's the move after? You know, what are going to be the picks we're going to have after? Like, we've gone this far already. We're imagining him and Brunson and certain fits and how many wins we're going to get and all this stuff, that if tomorrow, you know, they made the trade with the Kings or the Raptors and you're telling me that it was because, you know, you didn't add one extra pick. I mean, will people really understand? Like, if it's because of one pick or one player, just one, not 2 picks or 2 players, would that, you know, I just think it depends on what the deal is. It is going to come down to it because if they don't make this deal, it's going to be dependent on then the development of the young guys, right? Because you basically, you're banking on their development. You didn't make the deal because you didn't want to add Obi. You didn't make the deal because you didn't want to add Grimes. You didn't make the deal because you didn't want to add an extra pick. So I think there will be more pressure after you just gave $100 million to a point guard that I would say still is looking to prove himself as a potential all-star in this league. I think everything then has to start to pan out in a season where a lot of people think the head coach is coaching for his job. So it's good. You know, I think the whole dynamic becomes interesting whether they make the deal or not. And will they say fire Rose or sell the team? I mean, listen, if this team, I think at this point, again, you have credible reporters saying that, you have Woj saying that the Knicks are motivated. The Knicks want to make this deal. You don't make this deal, you better make the playoffs, or everybody's going home.
That's a fact. That's definitely a fact.
I mean, everybody might, if you make the play-in, everybody still might go home, because that might not be enough.
Yeah, you got to make the playoffs. You definitely.
I mean,
make the playoffs.
We're talking about RJ and Brunson and the young guys, and if you play the kids, and you are the 10th seed and you go home, you mean to tell me this fan base is going to be happy? They're going to feel confident in bringing Thibodeau here one more year? I don't know.
It's a fair point.
Would you keep the front office if they did that?
If they were like a 10 seed, barely made the play-in.
Yeah. Because you're playing all the kids.
I would keep. Look, I would
well,
keep.
We know what CP is going to say.
I would say I don't have any reason to, again, unless they got gun shy on the Spida deal, and they lost out on such a low value deal that they should have pulled it. But other than that, I think their draft history has been pretty good. Free agencies, yeah, there's been some duds. It is what it is. You know, bat 1,000. They've wrote their wrongs there. I say give them a chance to continue. But yeah, ultimately, you want to see, them turn some of this into somebody that can move the needle for them. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get to the next question. Okay, here it is. Next question is from Money Maker. Money Maker on the Twitter says, okay, he's got a few. All right, so he threw 3 in here. He says, what is the record prediction along with playoff play-in with or without Spida?
Here we go. Record predictions.
50 burger. You on, bro. Let's go. This is your time. Let's go.
60 this year? Are you going for 60?
Wait, hold on. We got Mitchell?
All right. Let's do this. Let's say, forget about the picks and everything. Let's say the framework of a Mitchell deal is obviously Fournier. Let's get Cam up out of here. You're a Cam fan, so I'm gonna stack the deck up against you. Let's get Cam out of here, and let's say it's IQ. So those rotation players are gone. Fournier, Cam, IQ.
I see what you did here. I see what you did here.
Are we making the Randall Westbrook trade?
Man, we kept Brian on this team.
No. Randall is still here.
Okay. Damn, Randall's the wild card.
I'm just going a little bit more realistic.
Okay. We'll see. Okay. If it's just that, again, you're not a 50-win team after that deal. And you could actually make the case. If we go player for player, the next question would be, is this Donovan Mitchell's most talented team? You know what I mean? So if when you look at what he's done in the West with Royce O'Neal and, Bogdanovich and, decent players, but I'm going to go 52 wins.
50 burgers back.
50 burgers back. It had to be
52 wins.
And what about without? What about without? Team
I'm
currently
seeing in the chat 40 wins.
Is.
Why make the deal if you think this team is going to win 40 wins?
No way. 40 wins if they with the team as is. I said 42 with the team as is.
You think it's 42 with so you think it's 50 if you get Donovan Mitchell on this team?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Oh, see Pico joining the barbecue.
Yeah. I mean, you get Spida. You don't lose Obi. You don't lose Grimes. You don't lose Randall. Even, if the fit is questionable, I get it. I think they should be able to stumble into 50 wins.
Should. I'm going to put them at 45.
I think it's the pain from last year.
Yeah, it's a lot of trauma from last year, man.
Look, man, I will get the top 4 teams in this Eastern Conference that went 53, 51, 51, 51. That's the 76ers, Bucks, Celtics, and Heat.
Wow, I'm surprised by the chat.
What's
45, 46, 48.
Is that with or with? Is that with or without?
I'm assuming they're saying with Mitchell.
Is that with people in the chat? Are you saying with
JJ
Mitchell?
saying 41 now, 49 with Mitchell.
Okay.
43. Wow.
With? No way. They won 37 games last year.
With no Rose, the kids
Yeah, with
playing
no
late.
Rose, right. I mean, look, where would they be in the standings? Look, where will Miami fall? I think that all depends if they get Mitchell or get KD. If they stand pat, I think they could come back to the pack a little bit.
Look, you also got to consider that. Let's say that no Nets deal doesn't pan out. The Nets won 44 games with the dysfunction that they had. You got to consider them to be a good team with Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
Of course. And
That's-
Ben Simmons.
That's
Depending on how
why,
he
that's why
comes out.
I'm putting it at 45. I mean, if you want to throw them, that goes up to top 5 teams now.
Yeah.
So now you got to say the 6. Chicago Bulls made the 6th seed with 46 wins. So I'm going 45 with the Knicks. Even if you get Donovan Mitchell, I think the team would be good. It's talented. To put them over that 50 win, to be a dominant team,
I think they
That's
could be
tough,
6. I think they could be anywhere 6 and playing, with or without.
The chat dead at me this year, man.
With or without, I think they could be. I think the Hawks will be better.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think
that's like the area we're competing.
Yeah. How
the
about
Hawks.
How about Cleveland?
I'm saying
Garland thinks they can win it.
You're talking about the same. Those are the teams that we're competing with.
Yeah.
Like
Charlotte, forget about it. Miles Bridges cooked them.
Yeah, no.
Right? Wizards.
Bulls are still trying to figure out if Lonzo Ball is going to be available.
Yeah, forget the Bulls,
So,
man.
I don't see
Toronto?
the Bulls.
Definitely
Toronto,
Toronto.
Toronto's another team you got to compete with.
Definitely Toronto.
Without, I think the team we're talking about. I think with that we're talking about.
52, man.
You're talking about we're keeping the same team with the change that we have.
Yeah.
How many, CP?
What?
Don't try to cop out 50. Give me an
What?
exact number.
If they get Spida with that team,
Yeah. Randall's in shape. Randall buys in.
yeah. Well, Julius been putting in work this offseason, man. He always
You know
does.
what I mean?
I think we got him motivated.
He's gonna breathe better this year.
Yeah, he's breathing better and all of that.
Stress levels are gonna be better.
Yeah. 51 and 31.
That's
Six.
you're saying 51-31. Is that with Donovan or without Donovan?
That's with.
Okay, I was about to say.
Yeah. 51 and 31 with the Spida. I think we're better than the Bulls. Deeper team than the Bulls.
Yo,
I think
Brunson,
we'll take
Mitchell
6.
backcourt. That footwork, man. Who's gonna be guarding that? Oof.
Yeah.
That defense, though.
So what's everyone's record without?
I'm looking at the positive.
Without, I'm going 42.
42.
Yeah. I'm going 42. 42,
Believe
about
in the
42 and 40.
kids.
I agree with that. I agree with 42.
Yeah.
I'll bump up my 45 to a nice 48. How about that? I'm not going 50.
Okay.
I'm staying under. There's no way I can go above 50.
I'm going 50 without Randall.
JD's just bringing out the grill. He's just like
He's just trying to get the grill
He's
out.
like, yo, throw the salmon on, throw the burgers on, yo, give me some chicken thighs. We cooking this thing up. Don't worry.
Can we put this in a chart, CM? Can you record this? I mean, record it, but
Yeah.
Put it in the chart,
We need
go
to
back
jot
to
this
it.
down. We need to jot
I mean,
this
we'll
down.
update it later on this off season, but
We need to jot this down. I see everybody on the phones too. We're gonna get to the phones last, so just hang tight. Okay. Number 2 question: KFTV basketball tournament. Yeah, we're gonna get that going, man. Next summer, the KFTV Invitational is happening.
Let's go.
Yeah,
CP's
but
like, give me a year.
Give me a year. I've been having that on my mind, man. I want to bring back Hoop It Up. I want to make a league. KFTV Invitational is gonna be the start of it. That's gonna be
Let's go.
That's gonna be the beginning of a full-blown league. It's gonna happen. We're gonna make it happen. So yeah, need some time. Obviously, figure out venues, insurance, all of that, and then everything else. We're good. Obviously, it has to be streamed on the #1 show for the fans by the fans. KnicksFanTV. Hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that share button. So yeah, we'll make that happen.
So everybody wants smoke. We here.
The Knicks fan TV invitation. Do we do a full, or do we do a 3-on-3 tournament?
3-on-3, because y'all, soon as there's 2 possessions down, y'all gonna start playing defense. And then we're gonna hear the excuses of, oh, I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
Like, no, 3-on-3. I don't want any excuses.
So Shahid in the chat said ankle tape.
I'm insulted, man. I'm insulted.
I didn't say names. I'm just saying overall.
Ankle tape. Oh man. 3-on-3.
Gotta be full court, man. Full court. Get in shape. You already got the notice now. Start getting on the treadmill. Go out doing some jogs. Go play some 5-on-5. Go get in shape for this. Get ready.
3-on-3 tournament. But the reason I even brought that up was because there was a rumor that Grimes was playing in Drew League yesterday. I didn't see any highlights of it, so I'm not even sure if he ended up playing. But I say that to say, man, Drew League is winning, man. We don't have like, how do we not have a league, an indoor league where all NBA players are playing in this thing? Obi's down in Miami playing with Garland. Quickly's in Miami working out. He's not in any league. Drew League got LeBron, DeRozan, Baron Davis is in. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? We fell off, man. And yes, there are leagues. Yes, there's the Nike Pro League and outdoors. Obviously, Dykeman is doing great things, but we fell off, man. There is no way this place shouldn't be packed with an indoor league full of NBA players, bro. Yes, Brickley has his runs, but those are casual things, man.
Rent's too damn high.
It don't make no sense, bro. That does not make any sense.
A little bit of that luster. Overall, New York City is just it's changing.
Yeah, man. I'm going to the to the point guards premiere tomorrow. I'm just like, yeah, it's great to be honoring all these past players. It was like, damn, man, we fell off, man.
Rucker used to be, whew.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for KD, I mean,
right.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time, man. It's been a long time since that Rockefeller versus Terror Squad game with the blackout.
CP, give me a 2K rating on your game.
Comparison,
either that or a player comparison or a 2K rating.
Comparison. I was like Spreewell. You know what I'm saying? Back in my prime, I was like Spreewell. Yeah. Attack the basket. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight attack mode, straight athleticism. You know what I'm saying? Pop out mid range. Defense. All about the defense. You know what I'm saying? Defense wins games. Defense wins championships. You got to lock in.
You sound like a role player.
No. In my prime. In my prime. Give me the ball and get out the way, man. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Give me the ball, get out the way. But defense. If y'all not playing defense, y'all can't play with me, man. I'm not gonna be covering for your mistakes. His mistake. Yeah, everybody gotta lock in, bro.
You're gonna start calling players out.
Everybody gotta lock in, man. Now my free throws, I gotta work on my free throws. But every time I'm in that MSC in free throws, I'm in jeans. I got my watch on, my vest, and everything. Like, come on, that's not real stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? And you got security rushing you, like, hurry up, man. You only get one shot at this. It's a lot of pressure when you do them things.
JD, who's your game?
I'm offense. I'm DeRozan, mid-range game. Like that's just my strength, mid-range game. And on defense, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna say because people gonna think I'm bugging, but I've always been defense, football, cornerback. I've always been defense has been my calling card. So I don't know anybody that you think about defensively.
Almighty said I hack on defense. Never, bro. Never, man. Matter of fact, what's my guy? One of my guys from LA Fitness, we used to call in here. I think was it Val? I don't remember if it was Val or not. Lash see me hoop. Lash knows what it is, man. Anyway, we'll get it cracking, man. Next summer, the KnicksFanTV Invitational is going down. All right. Optimus says CP's a 90s Knicks fans, all about defense. That's right. That's how we were raised, bro. That's how we raised.
I'm skeptical.
Okay. Hey, listen. You be skeptical. Just be ready. just be ready.
I want to see Tony Allen on defense.
Just be ready, bro. You want to be on my team. Put it that way. You want to be on my team if you want to win. You know what I'm saying?
If you play defense, you're right. I definitely do.
Oh yeah, we ready, bro. We ready, man. All right, his last question. How much would be too much to give up for Spida, in your opinion? I mean, we kind of crossed on these throughout the night. But how much would be too much?
Like the actual deal that would be too much?
Yeah, like I guess
trade?
between draft compensation and established players.
I think if you're giving up like 6 picks and if you're giving up Grimes and Obi or IQ and Obi or Grimes and IQ, I feel like if you give up, if that's like the meat and bones of the deal, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, 2 to 3 year prime young players, 6 picks. Unprotected, right? If you're throwing in 2 or 3 conditionals.
Yeah, if you're doing like it'd have to be like 3. Yeah, 3 unprotected. 3 unprotected with that.
Yeah, if I'm throwing in the conditionals in there, I'd probably go up to 5, 6. If you're throwing in the conditionals. But if you're talking about all unprotected, you're wild. You bug it out. You bug it out.
I'm gonna say if the deal is 5 unprotected picks, because I think it may end up being 4 unprotected picks. Yeah. So if you go 5 unprotected, and then Grimes and Obi, specifically Grimes and Obi, and 5 unprotected, I think that's too much.
What do you guys think in the chat, man? What would be too much to give up for the Spida? All right, to the phones we go. Let's go to the Discord. Let me get TGI Fly was waiting first on the Discord. TGI Fly, go ahead and unmute your mic. TGI Fly going once. All right, he might still be getting ready, so we're gonna put him on mute. BlackProdigy, let's go. Unmute your mic.
Yo, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Good, man. What's good?
Good. Yo, first of all, I want to shout out to the Burgers who was hyping up Sharif Cooper. Not sure if you guys saw it, but he got sent to the Shadow Realm today.
We forgot to talk about that, man.
He was averaging a whopping 1.5 points a game in the summer league, shooting 7% from the field goal range. But yeah, we missed out on him. Bunch of bozos, but whatever. I just want to say,
there's a reason why that kid dipped so low into the draft, man. Believe the scouts. Believe the scouts, man. Sometimes the scouts got it right.
Yeah, I just want to say quickly, man. I believe in the Don. The Don's gonna get this deal done. Danny Ainge is trying to give us to pay the Knicks tax, but the Don knows what's happening, and this is just a test that he got to pass. This is destiny. This is legacy. Donovan Mitchell is family, just like Brunson. We go get him in here, and we go have fun. Showtime, baby. Knicks is back.
Okay, appreciate the call, man.
Does Leon get credit for that?
What?
For Cooper? Because we always talk about players that you didn't draft that pan out. How about players that you didn't draft that didn't pan out? Because if you remember draft night, 21.
We were looking for him.
Oh, maybe we'll get him. Oh, maybe the Knicks will trade down and get him. And still in the first.
Yeah,
and then it was maybe they'll trade back to the first and still get him.
Yeah.
And then, maybe it'll be the first second round pick. No, maybe it'll be the second round pick. And they passed him up on all those opportunities. Yeah. And the guy I don't even think he's got a chance to get in the NBA floor. Has he played a career game in the NBA? I don't think he has.
Yeah, maybe like scrub time.
So you would have imagined if that would have been a Knicks situation, Leon would get destroyed.
Yeah.
So, it just in the NBA business, that part doesn't get talked about enough. Is always about like the players that you missed that panned out.
Yeah.
So
No, you're right.
And he was brought in too, right? Like the Knicks brought him in for like a workout.
Pretty
and,
sure.
And they got to see how he performed. Yeah, I give credit.
Although I would say
that it's kind of weird that the Hawks even drafted him, considering they had Trae Young. So it didn't make any sense why they would take another point guard that wasn't going to get many minutes behind Trae Young.
Yeah. The good old Sharif Cooper debates, man. Definitely don't miss those days. Let's see if TGI Fly is ready again. TGI Fly, go ahead and I'll mute your mic. Oh, he's missing showtime, man. All right, TGI Fly, man. Call back next time. But I know who's ready. We're going to India with it. Ashwin, let's go. I'll mute your mic, man. Oh, man, Ashwin, not ready. Ashwin, are you there? Going once. All right. Everybody in the Discord, not ready tonight, man. Okay. To the phones we go. Let's see who's on here. Area code 678. 678. What's your name? Where you tapping in from? Area code 678. Yeah, all right. He's out of there. Gotta cut that out on the pod. 646. What's your name? Where you tapping in from?
Raise the thumbs up. Raise the thumbs up. It's Hector from Harlem, CP.
Hector, let's go.
Yo, what up, Alex? What up, JD? Nah, but real quick, CP. Mm-hmm. I have to agree with you tonight, brother. I think I'm gonna be honest. I heard y'all debate earlier tonight, and I have to agree with CP. I think he hit the bullet on the head with that one. I just think you can't trade Quentin Grimes. We're looking at a two-way player in the making. We've seen what he's done in the Summer League this summer. He's developing his handle. And just in general, like, JD, I know the point you're trying to make, bro, but it's kind of like what CP said last year. A lot of Knicks fans, they kind of like, they raise the stock on some of these players way more than what they're going to be. Some of these guys are just going to be rotational pieces. Obi, that's how I see him. I don't see him, plus the fact that Julius is already on this roster. So I know you said you don't even envision Julius on the roster if we made a trade for Devo and all that. But in my opinion, I just think that Obi's that piece that you can move. I wouldn't want to part with Emmanuel just yet, but if he's probably going to be in the deal regardless. I look at Quentin from a two-way perspective. I just look at him as being that dude that down the line we're going to need. Like CP said, in the league now, it's kind of like positionless basketball. So if I need him to play like 5 minutes at the 4, I'm going to let him do that. But I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear what y'all think. And I had a question for CP. Mm-hmm. Bro, do you think that if we do get Donovan, he possibly could move to point guard, or we just sign Jaylen to be point guard exclusively? Because, as you know, Devo's more of a combo guard, and so is Jaylen. But I look at Jaylen as a shooting guard, actually. I want to hear your thoughts. Yeah. But as always, thumbs up, CP. You already know.
Appreciate it. No, look, I think they'll use them interchangeably. I think they'll use the two of them, both on and off. You know, Spida's had that experience playing with Mitchell. With Conley. He's had experience running the show himself. I think both guys will just be the guards. You know, and you'll be able to utilize them both on and off ball, which is a benefit.
I mean, like I said, with Grimes, I just think that even more with Donovan Mitchell, you're gonna have a 6'1". Although I know Mitchell is listed as 6'1". I looked at his combine numbers. He was 6'1.25" without shoes, and they say he's actually 6'3" with shoes. So, and I know the NBA now is going like they're listing NBA players without shoes. So he's 6'1", but they're saying he's 6'3", with shoes. And again, because of the defense that the challenge, I can see Donovan Mitchell going into the 1 when Jalen Brunson goes on the bench. Like I can see, at some point, Tom Thibodeau wanting to go to a traditional lineup,
stagger,
and have some defenders next to Mitchell, and not necessarily just have Mitchell at the 2 exclusively. I think you can see, a lot of times, especially when you get into that half-court game, you want to slow down the tempo. You just have Mitchell bring the ball up. He's already going to be in position to isolate. So, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of that. And that's why I just think, I don't know. I just think Obi, it gives this team more upside. Again, he makes a good point, the caller. If Randall's here, then Grimes could be more valuable because of the defensive aspect.
Nah, for sure. The caller has a point with having Grimes. If you have Randall here, it makes sense to keep Grimes. Once again, it goes back to him being able to play on any team just because at baseline, he's a 3-and-D player, but he can offer a little bit more than that, especially what we saw in Summer League and even a little bit of last season. I still stick with Emmanuel quickly, just because, like I said earlier, I think you're going to need that dynamic guard coming off the bench. You're not going to have Brunson and Mitchell playing all that time. I think you're going to need to give them breaks, but that's just me. But with regards to the, is Mitchell going to play some point, or is it Brunson being exclusive to the point? I think it's going to be what we saw from both of them. Like we saw Mitchell play point guard out in Utah and still play off ball, and same thing with Brunson that we just saw this past season with Luka. He can play on ball if needed and off ball. That's why the pairing, it works where I think it works, because both of them are just so adaptable, have adaptable games where whatever you need from either one of them to be the playmaker or the shot creator, they can do that. So I think in this, for that offense, if that does happen, I could see it working just fine. I don't think Jaylen will be exclusive, nor do I think Donovan will be exclusive.
Me neither. And the chat has spoken on who they would like to keep. It is Obi. 62% go with Obi Toppin, 16 for IQ, 21 for Grimes. Now, I think this poll was a little bit cooked. I think TM cooked the poll up a little bit.
Here you go.
Number one, he agreed with JD. Number two, he put hashtag keep Obi as a choice. Psychologically, that sways a lot of opinions. And he put that as the first one. It's like on the multiple choice tests where you're trying to guess. You usually go with A. God. You know what I'm saying? A usually goes with the best answer.
I thought it was C.
So
I thought it was C.
Oh, you were a C guy? I was an A guy on my guesses. You know what I'm saying? He put hashtag keep Obi. So you kind of contrasted the names a little bit. Then put your own bias into it. And put it as a first choice.
And then Grimes is third.
And put Grimes third.
That means something.
Yeah.
Somehow Grimes is third. That means So he put it in his order.
TM cooked the poll up a little bit. I'll go with it. It's okay. I'll go with it. 62% go with Obi. But I think TM pulled a little foot trick on us there. You know what I'm saying? I think it was a little foot trick on that. That's just me.
Hey, man, I'm just surprised that I'm close to you in the polls with our picks. Usually I'm just dead last.
The other thing about Obi is, when you look at, like, just the players, Mitchell and Brunson, wouldn't they be so excited to play with a guy like Obi with his energy? Like, just from that aspect of it. I mean, there's going to be nights where the team just doesn't have it. I mean, these guys are humans. And it seems like Obi is one of those players that he will never be short of energy on the court. And so I think that's another, valuable component that he brings to the floor is just, he's one of those players that if he becomes a solid player in the league, locker rooms would want to play with a guy like that because doesn't need the basketball. He's cool. He's athletic. I just think he's one of those, modern day era guys that people just like to play with. Yeah,
and I also think, we've been saying this is going to be his third year now. We've been saying for the first two that he's a guy whose, ceiling is dependent on who he's playing with. So, let's see if you bring in a Brunson and a Mitchell here, two guys who are operating out of the pick and roll. Can they space it enough to get Obi going? Are they guys who can help him get better, take his game to another level? It's left to be seen. So it's certainly interesting to see if he's on the team.
It'll just help, especially out in transition. Those two guys like to get out in transition. So
yeah,
that's what we need more of.
All right, let's take a couple more before we wrap. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. This show is presented by Manscaped. Make sure you guys are going to manscaped.com. Enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. No testimonials. Okay, a couple more real quick. Area code 402. What's your name? Where you tapping in from?
Hey, what up, bro? This is Joe from Nebraska.
Nebraska. What's going on, man?
Nebraska, check it in, bro.
Are you a new caller, man?
Yeah, new caller. I tried to call in from the Discord a couple times, but I always get cut out. I don't know technology, bro. So I dialed in this time.
How do you become a Knicks fan in Nebraska, bro? We need the story.
I got family out there from a while back, and we don't have a team out here, bro. It's corn, and that's about it.
He said it's corn and the Corn Huskers. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah, that's all we got, bro. Yeah, so I need you to just square this for me because I'm going back and forth on this. Like, if you're this high on Quentin Grimes, which I think we all are, right? Why not just open the floor for him with the rest of the young guys and let him run the two and see if he can develop into a star in his own right? You know what I mean? Like, we already have this base. We have this foundation of guys. Why not just let them play and see what we got? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think what Leon and these guys are
Good
looking
question,
at. It's a
Corey.
great
Good
question.
question.
It's a great question.
Good question for CP.
Yeah, man. It's a great question. But the answer is this. Can Quentin Grimes be an all-star caliber player? Is that his ceiling? I think what Leon and these guys are betting on is probably not. But the way I'm rating him and the way that you rate him is as a complementary piece. The 3-and-D guy is the perfect complementary piece to the star, to the playmaker. In the half court, you dump it down to him. Knock down that open shot. As you command the double teams, as you command that attention from the defense, knock it down to him. And he's a tough shot shooter. Can he be an all-star? That all depends on how much he can put the ball on the floor, create separation, make plays for his teammates. That's not clear. What I'm talking about is his role as a complementary piece to a team that already has an established star to play off of that person. That's how I'm rating Quentin Grimes. Not as a guy, I don't necessarily see him as a star in this league or a future star in this league. Not necessarily. But I think his contributions as a two-way player, complementary player, is valuable to this team. That's how I'll say it.
So where's he getting the minutes?
Wait, because I see debates about Fournier being the starter. How can that be if this is true? How could that even be a debate?
You mean if they didn't get Mitchell?
Yeah, if they didn't get Mitchell,
yeah.
I'm hearing, oh, Fournier is going to be the starter. How?
Because I think that would be a gradual progression. I think that would be a gradual thing where ultimately Grimes slots in there.
So let me ask you this: If Fournier was a 4, forget Randall. If you had a Fournier 4, you think Obi's starting?
If Fournier was a 4,
yeah, like if you had a power 4 Fournier instead of a Randall, is Obi starting over a power forward Fournier?
That's so hard.
You don't want to fall. You don't.
That's so hard to say. To envision Fournier as a 4 is that's so hard to do, man.
Because you don't want to admit that Obi would beat out a Fournier and be a starter, and Grimes. He should. We're having a debate that Grimes may not beat out Fournier, which Grimes, I think shouldn't even be a debate.
That's not even a question. Grimes beats out Fournier 10 out of 10 times. Defensive, two-way, can shoot.
I think he should start, but I'm saying people saying that Fournier would start if Mitchell's not here to start the season.
To open training camp, I think Fournier will start. If he's still here, I think he would start.
Wow.
I think he would start.
I think that's what I'm saying.
You have a coach who leans on vets. He still rocks with Grimes heavy, right? But what have we seen from Tibbs? He takes his time to get these guys into the fold, to earn their minutes, to earn their roles on this team, their positions on this team, right? We've seen that.
Yeah, but
that's the coach.
Hold on, but we've also seen Tibbs prioritize defense. Like, you can't sell him on. If we've heard that he wouldn't start Emmanuel quickly next to Kemba because he won't have 2 small guards, well, now you got a small guard who's solid at defense, not the greatest defender, solid defender. RJ is going to be guarding threes. That's going to be a difficult task. You hope RJ takes another leap defensively. Julius, we don't even know what we're going to get. Mitch, okay, you're going to tell me now in a backcourt where we saw Kemba and Fournier, you're going to have Brunson and Fournier. I think Grimes is just over Fournier, especially if you want somebody who doesn't need the ball. Fournier needs the ball to get going. So now you're going to have to worry about getting Fournier touches, RJ touches, Randall touches, and Jaylen needs to get his touches. We just talked about how Grimes is able to play off ball. It just makes so much sense for a guy who's a 3-and-D player at minimum, doesn't need the ball in his hands. He should. Tibbs got to rip that Band-Aid off, put Grimes in that starting lineup.
Yeah, it's just how I see it. I'd love to see Grimes starting. I don't think they'll hand it to him just yet. I think you'll see something where again, this is no Mitchell trade. This is the team as is. I think you're going to see him closing a lot more games this year. I think you're going to see him closing a lot more games.
Who are you going to see closing a lot more games?
Grimes.
Oh.
You're going to see Grimes closing a lot more games.
I thought you was going to say Fournier.
No. Oh, no way. In crunch time, you're going to see Grimes closing.
Yeah. And he better be starting.
Well, I think they would wait for the defense to be absolutely, an abomination and then move them in there by, All-Star break or something like that. I don't
wait for it to be an abomination. Just take care of it right away. Just don't even let it get to that point.
History, man.
We were going to do the player comparison thing since we're talking Grimes. Do you think, because I see it, everybody's saying it, and you got to put a little bit more respect on his name. Do you think Grimes turns out to be a better player than Allen Houston?
Not yet, because Allen Houston had way more shot creation back than Grimes right now. He has a ways to go in that. He's working on it. He has a ways to go.
Allen Houston's post-up game was elite.
Yes, absolutely.
His one-step, his jab, one-step pull-up, jab, two-step pull-up game was elite.
Yeah, his shot creation bag was way more than what Grimes is at right now.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Way more. But as the kid said, that's what he's working on, man.
So there's so many headlines with this team. There's gonna be a lot of content this season, man.
It's gonna be a lot, man. It's gonna be a lot.
But Mitchell or no Mitchell,
this is why we are here. This is why we're here, fellas. Well, great show, man. Definitely great show. Let's head to the outro. I gotta prep for this Point Guards premiere tomorrow. Red carpet. We'll see who will get some interviews for the channel, man. It's supposed to be a lot of people. Mark Jackson, Melo, KD, Steven Jackson confirmed for the red carpet. You got a ton of people, man. It's Rod Strickland, Kenny Anderson. Kemba's supposed to be there. We'll see. Kemba's supposed to be on the red carpet. God, Sham God, everybody. So looking forward to that.
Y'all doing that Celtics trade?
KD for Jaylen Brown? If I was the Celtics, I would do it.
First thing when he tweeted SMH, the first thing I looked at was when his contract expiring. Maybe we might be interested. Because
I think the C should do it. I think the C should do it. I think they definitely should do it.
People underestimate that. That's why, especially in today's age, you let Shams or Woj report a player is on the market or was discussed in the trade. Woo! You bet. That's why I think this Knicks trade is gonna go down eventually because you've gone this far. It's like look at what the Celtics gonna have to do now if that trade doesn't happen.
Yeah,
you got to rekindle that relationship with Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think they can get it done without putting Marcus Smart in the deal. But if they could, that's a no-brainer. I think they should definitely do it.
Nah, if you're the Celtics, you probably shouldn't do it. Keep the young budding stars together. Just rock with it. See what happens. Because look, you saw KD got exactly what he wanted in Brooklyn. He got his guy as the head coach. Got every player. You're telling me that he goes to Boston, maybe not a destination he wants to be to, and then next thing you know, hey man, I want out. I'm
With
good.
3 years left for the deal after this year, I don't know, man. You play for a coach like Udoka.
We had Nash out in Golden State.
Well, it's so hard to really predict with KD, man. It's so hard to predict.
That's why even make that move? If you're Boston, you just made it to the finals. You don't need to do it.
Man had a tailor-made situation where he basically crafted his own team and still don't want to be there. So it's hard to really say what is it that would make him, be content and sticking around. I don't know, man.
It's going to be interesting to see. I think this season is going to be a critical season for the NBA, man, because we're going to start to see this is new generation, new era. I remember the days where a player was 34 and he's basically on the way out. Like he's done.
Yeah.
and to me, LeBron is he's a different story. Like he's an exception, but Durant's gonna be 34. You're already starting to see some signs with James Harden. Will the NBA start to turn here with some of the younger players, coming up? This NBA season, I think, is going to be very, very interesting when you look at the future of it and who the next, group of stars are going to run the league.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's why the KD trade is so complex, right? Yes, he is 34. But if you feel like he's that one piece that you need, like it's the Kawhi trade all over again. It's a Kawhi trade all over again with the Raptors. If you feel like he's the one that can get you there, it's not guaranteed the Celtics get back. Don't just think because, Tatum's young, Brown is young. It's not guaranteed. A lot of things have to break right for you. But if you can get that one superstar, this is what the negotiations is all about. This is what risk is all about. You got to pull it.
Goes the same way with KD, though. Just because you have him, you hope it all clicks.
Yeah, you hope it all clicks. Could pop another Achilles, could, one out. You never know. But if you feel like he could change he's the one that could take you over the hump. If you go see Golden State again.
If he goes to Golden State again.
And let's be honest. If you're the Celtics, right, you're looking at that Middleton injury. And also, what nobody's talking about, what if KD and Kyrie stay in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
That team?
Yeah.
They got TJ Warren. They got Ben Simmons. If Ben Simmons ever,
I
gets
like
TJ
Warren too, man. I always like TJ Warren.
There were people out there that thought the Ben Simmons, KD, Kyrie trio was actually a better basketball fit than James Harden, KD, Kyrie trio. So it's a lot of different dynamics here. I'm pretty sure if the Knicks were the Celtics, everybody would be saying you're not getting back to the finals. So Al Horford was a big component of that team getting there, and he's not getting any younger.
He's not getting no younger. Plus, they need a bench.
This might be their opportunity to do it.
Plus, they need a bench too. That's also a little bit tricky. But actually, no, they got Brogdon and Danilo. I forgot about that. They did get Brogdon and Danilo. So I'm saying, man, yes, Brown is a young player and everything, but hey, you want to try.
How about you trade Tatum for KD instead of Brown? I feel like that's a better fit.
That would be tough, man. That'd be a tough trade. I don't know if I'm doing it.
Y'all scared.
I don't think I'm doing it, man. All right, let me rock with the super chats and get up out of here. So to everybody in the chat once again, great show. Definitely great show. Another episode of Knicks Weekly. Shahid, Canadian Super Chat, says the poll was bootleg. I want to redo. TM is sus for that one. TGI Fly says, I don't know what's up with this, but I got some things to get off, man. I've been crazy in the comments on IG. Try back next week, man. Try back next week. We tried you a couple times on the Discord. You just got to try back next week. $20 Super Chat from the Rhyme Animal. Chuck D says, Danny Ainge is sending Donovan Mitchell as far away from his conference as possible. He's old school like that. Sacramento trying to return to the Weber era. 4 more losing seasons, they lose the city. Donovan giving us B King years. So to Rhyme Animal, Chuck D, man. Eric Horn says, if Dolan gets involved, price just went up, in my Fat Joe voice. JWE Event Group says the big three era is over. Can't win with the top heavy roster. Let Mitch and RJ grow as our 1-2 and build a proper roster around them. Fishing for stars around the league is becoming increasingly impossible. Build your own. Above the Rim, appreciate it. He says, thank you, JD. Who's really a number one? Stop this number one talk. Iris Cox, appreciate it. Shout out to Rafael Joel Rubio, says yesterday's story of CP was an inspiration. Yeah, no doubt. Appreciate it, man. Make sure you guys check that out. The untold story of KnicksFanTV. It's on the channel right now. Definitely appreciate my guys at Rebel Road Studios for the sit-down interview. Had a great time doing it. Definitely check that out. Stephen People says, I really want them to trade for Mitchell, but if it never happens and they continue to build with the young guys, it won't be disappointed. Maybe they trade for another stat in the future instead. O&A says, good to see Leon is standing firm. We were a point guard away from the playoffs. RJ is a year away from being an all-star. Our young guys look great this summer. Hashtag position of power. Hashtag good job, Leon. Boston Nick, $10 Super Chat, says Ainge might have shown his hand by wanting to trade a young Vanderbilt on a team-friendly contract for a first-rounder. I call cap. Ainge wants all and every pick out there. Who else we got? Chuck D, $20 super chat says SMH, Danny ain't instead of Danny Ainge. Shout out Latinx Travel Club. So shout out to the KFTV crew. Appreciate it. Sage. Okay, got that one. Rhyme Animal Chuck D says salute to Knicks Nation. Okay, that was yesterday. Appreciate you, Chuck. Definitely appreciate that. Okay. All right, fellas. So, look, man, Spida Watch continues. Great show as usual. Great show to all the fans that chopped in. Make sure you guys check us out in audio podcast format. Shows available on all major podcast platforms. Go to manscaped.com, promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. And that's the story, man. JD, Al, any final words before we wrap?
Will Donovan Mitchell be a New York Knick by August 1st? Yes or no? CP, you and I got a little personal predictions. So
yeah, what did I say again? What did I say again?
You said by this Wednesday. Last week you said this Wednesday. I said this Thursday.
I think we both
Thursday.
might be wrong. I think this one is going to
It's going to be middle of August, gentlemen.
Yeah.
It's going to be after August 1st.
Yeah, but we said that last week.
Yeah.
Look,
So, Sham saying on a Monday they're far apart. I don't know, man.
Look, man, the reason why Shams is saying this, these execs are on vacation right now. It's the summer months. They ain't trying to do any business right now. They're all away. You're just letting it chill, let it marinate. They'll be back in end of August. They'll get it done.
Let's do it, man. All right, fellas, we'll tap in. Hey, if anything happens, we'll be back. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share these videos. KnicksFanTV, we out.